Welcome to Tile Choices Podcast, the podcast where tile meets creativity and craftsmanship. Hosted by Bruno and Maria, we're diving into the world of tile, from the latest design trends and must-know installation tips to product insights and real-world experiences. Whether you're a DIYer, interior designer, or seasoned contractor, there's something here for everyone who loves transforming spaces one tile at a time. So grab your coffee, put on your headphones, and let's talk tile. Because at Tile Choices, it's more than a surface, it's a statement.
Ciao amici, welcome back to Tile Choices. I'm Bruno, and as always, I'm here with Maria.
Happy Tuesday, everyone.
Yes, hard to believe it is Tuesday already.
I know, yesterday was such a blur with all the email requests from the weekend.
Today, we're diving into the first, and maybe the most overlooked step for a flawless kitchen backsplash, prepping your wall. Maria, you know, people always want to jump straight to the fun part, picking out those beautiful tiles, but if you don't start with a clean slate, you're asking for trouble.
Absolutely, Bruno. I see it all the time. Folks get excited about the latest trends like those bold geometric patterns or textured tiles we talked about last week, but they forget that the wall underneath is just as important. If you've got old tiles, wallpaper, or even just leftover adhesive, you got to get rid of it. No shortcuts here.
Yeah, and let me tell you, I had this client in Rome. Lovely guy, but he was in a rush, you know? He thought, a little grease, a little dust, who cares? 2 weeks later, half his backsplash was on the floor. I'm not kidding. The adhesive just couldn't stick to all that grime. So first thing, scrape off everything. Old tiles, glue, wallpaper. Use a putty knife. Take your time.
And once you've got a bare wall, it's time for a deep clean. Kitchens are notorious for grease, especially behind the stove. I always recommend a degreasing cleaner or even just warm water with a bit of mild detergent. Wipe it down, rinse, and let it dry completely. If you skip this, your tiles might not stick, or worse, you'll get those ugly bubbles and loose spots.
Exactly. And don't forget to protect your countertops and cabinets. Cover them up with plastic or a drop cloth. You don't want to be cleaning up glue or dust for days after. And check for moisture too. If there's any sign of mold or leaks, fix that first. Otherwise, you're just setting yourself up for problems down the road.
Right, and I know it sounds like a lot, but trust me, this foundation work is what makes your backsplash last. It's like we said in our episode about finishing touches. Attention to detail at every step is what separates a DIY disaster from a professional result. So once your wall is clean and dry, the next step is to check for any imperfections. I'm talking holes, cracks, little dents, anything that could mess with your tile. You want to fill those in with a good patching compound. And don't just slap it on. Let it dry, then sand it smooth so your wall is as flat as possible.
Yeah, and this is where people get impatient, eh? They think, a little bump, who's going to notice? But if you skip this, you get what we call lippage, tiles sticking out at different heights. It looks terrible, and it's a pain to fix after the fact. If you've got a big dip or bump, sometimes you need to skim coat with joint compound, or even use a backer board if the wall is really uneven.
Oh, lippage is the worst. I remember this one project, tiny little dent. I thought, hey, it's nothing. But after the tiles went up, you could see the edge sticking out every time the light hit it. I had to pull off 3 tiles and redo the patch. So, learn from my mistake, take the time to get your wall flat, use a level or a straight edge to check, and don't be afraid to do a little extra sanding.
And if you're dealing with an old house, sometimes the walls are just not straight, no matter what you do. That's when a cement backer board is your best friend. It gives you a perfect, stable surface for your tiles. It's a little more work, but it's worth it, especially if you want those big modern tiles that are so popular now.
Exactly. And remember, if you skip repairs, you're not just risking lippage. You can get cracks in your grout, loose tiles, or even water damage if moisture gets behind the backsplash. So, patch, sand, and check for level. Don't rush it. It's the difference between a job you're proud of and one you want to hide behind a toaster.
All right, so your wall is clean, patched, and flat. Now comes priming. This is another step people want to skip, but don't. Primer helps the adhesive bond, especially on drywall or plaster. I usually go with a PVA primer, but always check it works with your tile adhesive. Roll it on evenly, let it dry all the way. Don't rush it, eh?
Yeah, and while the primer's drying, that's the perfect time to plan your layout. This is where your design eye comes in. I always start by measuring the backsplash area and marking guidelines with a pencil and level. I like to find the center or a focal point, maybe behind the stove or sink, and work outwards. That way you get symmetry and you can avoid those awkward skinny cuts at the edges.
You know, Maria, I always say, measure twice, cut once. If you plan your layout, you can make sure your tiles line up with cabinets, outlets, all that stuff. And if you're using a bold pattern or a special tile, like those Kit Kat tiles we talked about in our first episode, you really want to make sure everything's balanced. Otherwise, it just looks off.
Totally. I had a client who wanted a mosaic feature right in the middle of her backsplash. We spent extra time measuring and marking, and it paid off. No weird cuts, no surprises. And don't forget to dry lay a row or two on the counter before you start sticking tiles to the wall. It helps you spot any issues before it's too late.
And, if you're not sure about your layout, take a photo and step back. Sometimes you see things you miss up close. Planning now saves you a lot of headache later, trust me.
So, to wrap up, if you want a backsplash that's beautiful and built to last, don't skip the prep. Remove the old stuff, clean, repair, prime, and plan your layout. It's not the glamorous part, but it's what makes the magic happen.
That's right. And if you missed our last episode on finishing touches, go check it out. We talk all about how to end your backsplash for that perfect polished look. Maria, always a pleasure. Grazie everyone for listening.
Thanks, Bruno, and thanks to all our listeners. We'll be back soon with more tile tips and inspiration. Arrivederci.
Thanks for tuning in to Tile Choices Podcast, your go-to podcast for everything tile. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe, leave us a review, and share it with your fellow tile lovers. Got questions or a topic you'd like Bruno and Maria to cover? Visit us at tilechoices.com or connect with us on social media. Until next time, keep designing, keep dreaming, and remember, great spaces start from the ground up, one tile at a time.